Hey guys, it's Wayne Santos, one of the editors here at CGM, and for this week's Sound Off, it's actually going to be a little bit of a different topic. We're going to be talking about tourism, specifically virtual tourism. Now, what started all of this off is I was reviewing, or maybe it'd be more accurate to say re-reviewing, the definitive edition release of Sleeping Dogs, which has just come out on the Xbox One and the PS4 and the PC again. And I played the game at its original release, reviewed it back then, it's like loved it, but playing through it again, for me in particular, really drove home this amazing thing that the new hardware is capable of doing for us, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this when virtual reality comes along with Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus. And that is the idea that with these open world games that allow you to explore the environment, they are basically opportunities for you to be a virtual tourist, to go on a virtual vacation, if you will. Now, what got me thinking about this with Sleeping Dogs is the fact that I actually spent many years living and working in Southeast Asia in the Singapore, Hong Kong region, so I was actually very, very familiar with the environment that they portrayed in Sleeping Dogs. And what amazed me the most about it was, despite the fact that this is not a Western setting, it's not an environment that most people would be familiar with, the team over at United Front Games obviously spent a lot of time in Hong Kong photographing the hell out of everything and recording everything that they possibly could, because for anybody that comes from that environment or is familiar with it, there is an eerie level of authenticity. I mean, it comes right down to the little things like the electronic chime that you hear when you enter the convenience stores, or the sound that the birds make in the morning as the sun rises. These are all things that anybody growing up in that region would just take for granted, but it's not something that you actually expect to experience in a video game. It's even just the little details like the plastic chairs that they have in cheap coffee shops, and it's like other little restaurant stands. It's like these are the kind of props and objects that I actually remember seeing and using during my time in Southeast Asia, and they just completely nailed it. But it doesn't just limit itself to real world settings. One of the great things about Assassin's Creed, and I think one of the most indirect benefits of that entire series, is that the Assassin's Creed series actually allows people to, in a way, it's like immerse themselves and experience a historical period. Obviously none of us are able to go back to Jerusalem during the Crusade periods, but the original Assassin's Creed allowed us to do that. Later next month, when Assassin's Creed Unity comes out, it's like, yeah, sure, okay, anybody can go and fly to Paris and experience 21st century Paris, but to actually see revolutionary Paris, it's like before the Eiffel Tower went up, when the Louvre was not actually an art museum, but was actually like a decadent palace that the nobles hung out in. This is something that none of us will actually get to experience, but thanks to the amount of work that they've been doing over at Ubisoft Montreal and the insane obsession to detail that the art teams over there have, when you wander around in some place like revolutionary Paris, or even just the West Indies during the golden age of piracy, you really get a sense, at a remove, of what it must have actually been like to be in those environments. So to you guys out there, the next time you boot up one of these open world games, it's like, and you're just wandering around or driving around or hopping through the rooftops, just actually take the time to stop and look at the place you're in, because you actually are in a place. It's an artificial place that a huge team of artists have made for you to run around in, but there's enough detail in there in terms of the sound and the color and the objects around you that it really does feel like a place if you stop and pay attention. See ya.